Hi, so this is part 4 of A Culture of Adoring Small Beginnings. Um, just lastly, I think it's important to also say that um, we're not here to convince anyone of anything. We're not here to tell anyone what to think. Okay. And I think the vast majority of people just want to go with the flow. They just want to do their day-to-day things that will keep body and soul together, and they're not really interested in thinking about these things. And this is why it's very important to get rid of the idea that you need large numbers of people to participate. Okay, it just needs a small group of people who will lead the society, because people, I think humans essentially are herd animals, and so they will follow their leaders. Um, and this is why it's important to have a good quality of individuals who form a leadership cohort. Doesn't have to be a lot of people, but who will create these institutions that will introduce the activities that create the new reality into the society and the community. Okay. Um, I think people obviously want a better life for themselves and their children, but they don't necessarily want to do the heavy lifting. They don't want to have to think of the programs. They don't want to have to build institutions. So you're going to have to do all that hard slog, that nitty gritty paperwork, which is very tedious and extremely boring. um, but, you know, as it happens, you do have conversations with people about what you're doing. You do invite them to participate in whatever small way they can, even if it's just to offer their good wishes to the success of the project. That's a lot. That's something, and it's energy. Like they say, you pay attention to something. So if you can get people to pay attention to what you're doing just by wishing you well in your endeavor, that's energy. That's something, and energy is the basis of creation, right? So it's all these types of small things. And, obviously, we're talking about social, economic, and political change. So there's a lot of components involved. It's to identify these components. It's to look at where you're starting. Obviously, not going to start everywhere. So maybe you want to decide you're going to start with maybe economic activities. Okay. But in the process, you are constantly repeating, reinforcing, and refining your philosophy, the spiritual reality that motivates you, you know, getting deeper into it, being in touch with your higher self. And it's very important that everyone who's involved is in touch with their higher selves. You don't want a situation where you have like a priestly class, who know everything, and the rest of you are just supposed to believe what those people say without question. And I know that on earth this sounds exceedingly utopian, you know, but there are societies where individuals have their agency and choose to use it in service of the good of the whole of the society. Um, and there's also no need in those types of situations, those societies, to police anyone. You know, they very much understand so within, as within, so without. If you have integrity, if you become the change you want to see in the world, right? That's how you affect the world. That I think is something that's very difficult for human beings to understand. And Jesus also said the same thing. It's like, before you take out the speck in your brother's eye, first take out the plank in your own eye, then you'll see clearly to take out the speck in your brother's eye. It's being the change you want to see. leading by example, and once again, this is it, it's all about small beginnings, because just because you've been a good example for like a week or a year doesn't necessarily mean everyone's going to be following your example by the end of that week or that year. It might take a longer time, but your consistency affects the space-time continuum, right? And obviously, the closer the proximity to you in terms of space and time, the deeper and the more powerful your impact has on the people around you. And you'll be shocked by the people who notice you. It's never the people who you expect. Maybe it's never the people that you want, but you'll be surprised who notices you. So it's all about that consistency. This is why I'm saying, like, this is a long-term thing, and it has to be a long-term thing. It has to be. There's nothing is going to change the current reality except things that are long-term. The concept of freedom in our lifetime, goals achieved in our lifetime, it's a lie that's been sold to us so that we could take our eyes off the ball, okay? So that the elites could reap the benefits of the revolution while the rest of us were bewildered as to what happened, So it's very long term, and it's to acknowledge that what is being built for future generations. That's the intention, and that slow and steady wins the race in creating this change. And even with each individual's personal development as a powerful piece of technology, you could say, instrument of change in this movement. We constantly refining ourselves, constantly increasing our ability to act with courage and integrity, constantly improving our connection to our higher self. And it involves all sorts of things. It's not just about meditating. It's about removing people, places, and things from your life that will hinder your ability to connect with your higher self, all the way from how you eat to how you sleep, to the place that you, to the nature of the place in which you live, like the inside of your house, your relationships with your family members, the kind of material that you look at with your eyes and listen to with your ears, what you do for fun, the kind of conversations you have, all sorts of things, input, output, factors will determine how effectively you are able to connect with your higher self. And so, I think at the end of the day, really, I've said all that to say that essentially the truth is we all have to be the change that we want to see in the world on a consistent basis, day to day, remembering that umuntu ungumuntu ngabantu. What you do affects the people around you and develops the people around you, changes the vibrational frequency of your environment. Okay, you're like an energy transmitter. So whatever's going on within you will affect your environment energetically. So this is why I say this is the beginning. This is the small beginning of the revolutionary change that we want to see in the world. It starts with each individual committing themselves to being an organism that is part of the ecosystem that we want to create, so that the reality on this planet in our communities can change objectively for the better, based on a true understanding of the spiritual nature of existence, of ourselves. Yes, that's it. Thank you. Bye.